Good day to all you exiles out there. Welcome to the apocalypse, I guess. A lot of people have stopped playing the game this league. A lot of people are on Reddit playing the forum game more than they're playing the real game. Not me. I've been playing the real game, testing a lot of things out myself. You see, unless you've been living under a rock or came to this video in a time machine, the community is in quite a buzz, quite outraged over a very specific topic, and that topic is loot. Well, there's a few different topics, but loot is the one I want to talk about in this one, as I come out to you with a 100 map farming session. But I need to give you the backstory on this one because it's quite important, and there's a little bit of added branding to this video because of the backstory. So the backstory is like this. There's a notorious 6-man farming group, a very highly skilled, highly dedicated 6-man farming group that went into the new league, this league, to do their usual business. In an effort to farm multiple mirrors in the first week, and they were met with a proverbial slap in the face from GGG's monstrous nerf to their strategy and some well-connected strategies. Said 6-man party group then presented a lot of data to the community, which I have no reason to believe or no reason to doubt any of that data. Unfortunately, either by willful negligence or probably more like accident, said data was spun out to the community and received in such a way that everybody thought we had entered a sort of doom and gloom scenario where nobody was going to get any more drops, juicing dead, completely dead, and there's no point in playing the game if you're someone who likes to juice much. Well, you're looking at someone who likes to juice maps a lot, and I wasn't just going to jump on this bandwagon. I was going to reserve my judgment. I wanted to test some things out myself. I've tested a variety of different strategies, mainly three very different strategies that in some way, shape, or form incorporate juicing, including this strategy, ironically, even though it's an Alch Go strategy. We'll get into that. But suffice to say, I would like to dispel the assertion that in this case, for this video, if you Alch Go your maps, you won't even make your money back. I don't know who came up with that idea, but that's completely false. And I'm going to prove to you you can not only make your money back, you can not only make a little bit of more money back, you can actually make a pretty decent amount of money, surprisingly. Now, I will not be making crazy amount of currency in this farming strategy. It is an Alch Go strategy, so don't set your bar too high here. But we're talking multiple divines an hour, okay? That's what I'm going to be making in this strategy. I can guarantee you that. I don't know what the exact results are going to be by the end, but we will see and we'll test it out. We got a dump tab here. I got a chaos in here that simply cover the cost of running essence, because I'm going to be running essence, as you can see. I've set myself up with a nice tab. This should cover at least 100 maps, because you typically have to use a remnant of corruption if you're running essences at least once a map on average. So that'll cover that. And, you know, I don't expect anyone here who's running an Alch Go strategy, who wants a sort of entry-level high-tier red map strategy, to just suddenly spawn 100 maps and over 100 essence of corruption and everything like that. I don't expect that. So, you know, if you don't have that kind of starting value, then you can start with 10 maps. You can start with 20 maps. You know, take your pick. Let me go down here and show you this page right here. Now, this is the pricing for essences. We have to play a little bit smart. For Remnant of Corruption, we don't want to use it on just anything. Now, I'm not a big essence farmer, but I'm doing essence on this strategy because it was the most prudent, and I will show you why when we get to the Atlas passive tree. You can see that the specialized essences, Insanity, Delirium, Hysteria, Horror, they all come from the purple essence. So basically, anytime I see a purple essence of any tier, probably going to throw a Remnant of Corruption onto it. Anytime I see a Shrieking essence of Loathing, Wrath, or Greed, because of their pricing as well, I will probably throw it in there. Anytime I see 2 or more Shrieking essences at all, probably going to throw a Remnant of Corruption. So you can see I'm going to use quite a few of them, actually. And you should too, if you're going to do this strategy, in my opinion. Let's get into the Atlas passive. So I did mention a second ago that this was a juicing strategy. How in the heck do you juice a map up when you Alch Go? You do it like this. You go Grand Design. This strategy is going to hinge on Grand Design. Also, a little background for this strategy. I had quickly discovered through my testing that there was one specific mechanic that seemed to be completely unharmed by any loot nerfs whatsoever, and that is the deterministic percent chance drop of divination cards, basic currency, eldritch currencies, map currencies, gems, And there might even be another one I'm leaving out. Oh, maps. Yeah, maps too. That come from running the Eldritch influence on your maps. It could either be Searing Exarch or it could be Eater of Worlds. In this case, we'll do Eater of Worlds because we're going to get more altars, and that's a pretty typical way to go about it there. Unfortunately, when you do Alch Go just the traditional way, you don't spawn very many altars, and the reason is because you're not running 8-mod corrupted maps. You're not running a bunch of increased effective modifiers on your maps. You're just running 1 or 2 league mechanics, and the pack size is tiny. And in case you weren't aware, the biggest, greatest takeaway from this video is going to be as follows. There's only one way to juice up the Eldritch, the currency you can make from the Eldritch influence in the altars, and that is pack size. Quantity and rarity do not matter 1 iota for that particular mechanic. You spawn every single minion that spawns has a set chance to spawn an altar. It's very tiny. It's like less than 1%. And the altar, the quality of the altar, I mean, can be enhanced with Eldritch Gaze, but beyond that, it's completely unaffected by quantity and rarity. Now, those monsters do have a certain quantity and rarity drops as well, but as far as Eldritch altar drops, it's a flat percent chance. So this is a great starting strategy. Grand Design, in my opinion now, having reflected on it, is a fantastic keystone for League Start because it allows you to circumvent the lack of juice that you have on the map by cranking it up in a static amount and still running maps that are very safe with modifiers that only you can run. I mean, hell, you could even transmute and go and still have 50% pack size on these maps, which is pretty insane if you think about it. Now we have a lot of other different things on here. Essence, of course, is there. The interesting thing is if you check the Essence small nodes, they're basically completely worthless for Essence farming. They have virtually no value whatsoever. So Grand Design also works greatly with them, and that's one reason why we're doing Essence. Another reason why we're doing Essence is it's a fantastic Alch Go strategy, period. Also, another reason we're doing Essence is because crafting has been nerfed immensely, which means Chaos Orb spamming, Fossil spamming, and Essence spamming is more prolific than ever before, which means people are going to be using Essences a lot more, so I suspect their value will hold pretty strong throughout for quite a long time on this league, perhaps the entire league, actually. So with Grand Design, what it does is increase 1% pack size per allocated notable in the passive skill tree. So you might think you're going to just, get to every single notable you can, regardless of whether you're running the mechanic. That's not exactly true. I do apply that strategy if it's only 1 point away from the main tree, such as these nodes right here. But otherwise, I still think it's wise to target specific things you want to see spawn in your map. And even in an Alch Go situation, you can come out ahead by blocking a variety of different things. Please pause the video right here if you're not aware. You can read the text at the bottom, and it suggests that even though you cannot block things like shrines and heist, or sorry, you can block heist rather. I misspoke. Okay, you can't block shrines, you can't block strong boxes, you can't block essences. They still receive the benefit of blocking other things. So we actually have, I believe it is in grand total, a 26% chance, and not an 8% chance, the flat percent, but a 26%, actually, sorry, it's more than that, it's 30% because we're also running Stream of Consciousness. 30% chance to spawn, instead of 8% flat chance, it's a 30% chance to spawn Ambush, Domination, or a Smuggler's Stash. It would be a 30% chance to spawn a couple essences, except we're going to be forcing it on the map and paying the 2 chaos per because it is just so lucrative. It's the most lucrative of all. But if you cannot do essences for some reason, because your build's not strong enough, and essences can be pretty hard with Arch Nemesis running on T16s, no biggie. You can run Ambush deliberately on there. Or you can just run, I mean, you could, in that case, honestly, you could take Shaping of the Valleys. Might even be a pretty good idea. And then, go Fortune Favors the Brave. Wouldn't be a terrible idea at all. So that is definitely another option. If you do not have your entire atlas filled out like I do, would be expectable if you're watching this video now and you're looking for an Alch Go strategy. Take your pick. You can remove Etched by Acid if you want. You can even remove some of these nodes right here. You could remove the ones down here. You have to pay a lot of points to get all the way down here. Yeah, so let's talk about all this. Oh yeah, you could remove Dance of Destruction, but I'm kind of baller and I like doing extra damage and getting through each map 10 or 15 seconds faster, even if it means I might die. It's fun for me. I am running the Gull too, so shrines are extra valuable for me, but you don't have to run the Gull and get the shrines anyway. You could also add Harbinger in here if you really wanted to. Now, so just to clarify, we are target farming essence. We're target farming pretty much in this order of importance. We're target farming the Eldritch Influence altars. We're target farming essences. We are target farming shrines, strong boxes, and contracts, heist, and blueprints. We are also target farming scouting reports. You know, I'm going to get a surprisingly high amount of value from the scouting report notes, which should be quite interesting. And then, of course, we're just getting whatever other extra stuff. So there's actually a lot of different things with target farming, and you'll notice in the strategy, these particular mechanics can be done very quickly. If you know me, you know I like juicing. Whether or not I'm juicing, you know I like going fast. So definitely going to be going fast on this one. And you can too. If you follow my build guide, of course, which is the Soul Thirst Deadeye, which is linked in a few videos back. So highly suggest that's a video. That is the strategy I'll be running. My POB will be linked in the description below. According to my POB now compared to a recent video, I've basically upgraded a few awakened gems, and that's about it. I think that's about all we have to talk about. Again, the Chaos Orbs here represent the cost of putting Essence on the map 100 times, 2 Chaos apiece. These Essences will be displayed in the Excellence tab against me here on the value, and you can see Excellence is right here ready to go. And according to this, we're starting with a cost of 744. Divine Orbs are about 168 to 1 right now, so I'm going to take 444 divided by 168. I would prefer to do this in Divine Orbs, and we see a total investment cost of 4.43 Divine Orbs, and that will be subtracted to the total findings. One more thing I do need to mention about Excellence. Now, when I do major juicing strategies, I usually go ahead and just not bother with the extra stuff I find that is not automatically counted. That would include things like contracts, blueprints, logbooks, Conqueror, Elder, or Shaper, Influence maps. These things don't, and also these new memories. Like the A&R memory is worth like 50 chaos right now, for example. That is a Lake of Calandra specific league specific item, and they're not all that rare of a drop, by the way. So there are going to be, in this particular strategy, numerous things that get deposited into my dump tab that will not be counted at all. Now, because this strategy, first of all, because it's an Alch Go strategy, and I really want to, you know, try and count everything that I get for obvious reasons. That's kind of how you treat loot rewards in the beginning. You count everything you get. And on top of the fact that we're target farming, we're actually devoting notables and Atlas passives to the points here for these things, like the smuggler stashes and the, I don't know, scouting reports, all kinds of different stuff. Oh, and the fact that we're running map bosses so quickly that this is essentially kind of like a boss invitation strategy, as I am actually technically devoting points to that as well. Because we're doing all of that, I am going to manually calculate those things in at a slightly conservative rate. For example, I'm going to only count deception contracts. I'm not even going to count perception, for example, which is still worth something. Deception will be counted at 6 chaos apiece. And then for blueprints, I'm only going to count either fully revealed blueprints, if that shows up, and or unusual gems and replicas as well. And I'll be counting them, I think, around 12 chaos apiece, if I'm not mistaken, yeah. Fully revealed blueprint, if I get it from this notable. We'll figure that out in the end. I know it's worth a lot more. Yeah. Oh, and of course, I'll be counting the Conqueror, Shaper, Elder Influence maps, and sort of anything else that for some reason isn't counted at all in there. I will count that. I do want to point out real quick here, there is an interesting notable here. It only cost me 2 points to get, since I went ahead and got Stream of Consciousness. Packed with Energy is extremely strong. You can take use of this by running Nico manually on your map. You can also put a Nico Sextant on there. It only costs you about 3 or 4 chaos per sextant. That's literally just 1 chaos per map added. It gives you a huge amount of power. It can really help you destroy those pesky Arch Nemesis Essence mobs as well. I'm not going to do that. My build's strong enough. I don't really have to do that. You can also augment this strategy in a way where you can make more currency by removing Stream of Consciousness and using a Gloom Shrine Sextant. You can use Smuggler's Stash Sextant. You can use Strongbox Sextant. You can use Ambush Scarab. You can use Nico Scarab. You can use a lot of different things to boost the earning potential of the strategy. And of course, like the massive one of all, you could go Wrath of the Cosmos if you're super janked. You make a lot of currency. This strategy is actually geared very, very favorably towards Wrath of the Cosmos, given that it is inherently low or inherently high pack size with very low sort of danger level on the map mods in general. For the record, the map mods are all here. I've already kind of chiseled and alched them all. They're all basically random. I did buy these for 4 chaos apiece. They will be listed for 4 chaos apiece. You know, good luck buying 100 Mesa maps for 4 chaos apiece. It's not that easy, but you know, if you have a little bit of patience, you can do it. Why am I running Mesa? Well, I consulted the community and we decided this was the map to do, and when I show the first map showcase, I'll explain to you how I run that map and why it's so good. So that's about all I have to say on that. You can always ask questions in the comments below. And I would like to get this party started. So before I do that, I need to reset excellence one more time. We'll be timing these runs. I know I will get all 100 of these runs done in under 5 hours. We'll see how long it takes. It shouldn't take too much longer than, not too much longer than 4 hours. 4.5 hours maybe. So we're good. We got everything set up. We got the investment cost figured out. I like to just put a bunch of these over here because it really sucks if you're running the map and you you forget to replace these and your inventory goes.
My mana
bloop.
is gone.
Okay, Eater of Worlds Influence and Essence. That's what we're doing. They cost 2 chaos apiece. No sextants, no scarabs. Again, going to dispel the myth that you cannot make currency back. I'm going to be making a lot of currency with this Alch Go strategy, and you can too. And you don't have to be as fast as me or as strong as me to do it either. Here we go. First map. Okay, so I run straight to the boss room, and that's because you want the higher value altars that spawn. You want to get the ones that give you altar effects for the minions, preferably. So you need to clear the boss as quickly as possible. Mesa is really good for that on its face. The boss is also easy. He is in an arena, but he's super easy to kill. I mean, he's one of the easiest bosses in the entire game, honestly. And then, you know, I go around and I stay on the top ledge because I'm just going to clear the top zone. I kind of piece this out by clearing the top, and then I'll clear the bottom after that, doing sort of a ring around the rosy thing. This is not a map sustain strategy, so we're not going to like try to sustain Mesa maps. We're just going to deal with the fact that we know we're not going to sustain. We'll have to buy them up at a later point. That's okay. Just kind of going to have to deal with it. Unfortunately, in this first map, the essences that are showcased here are really, really bad quality so far, but you know, there's still going to be at least one more left. You can see because there's 2 shrines on here, that should mean that I spawn domination. And if you're wondering why I'm skipping that essence, I'm getting a few more Soul Eater buffs. I reset my Soul Eater, so I want to have that extra power spike. And again, you might be wondering to yourself, well, how do you do this strategy where you look like you're a mapper, but you also look like you're a bosser? Because you're able to kill, you know, the boss as quickly as you can, and you're also able to move as fast as you are through the map. And the answer is pretty simple. I'm just using Soul Thirst. I don't have any mirror tier gear. I don't have any crazy items like Headhunter. I don't even have a Omniscience. The most expensive item I have on this character so far is an Inspired Learning, and honestly, it's not playing a huge role in the success of the strategy right here. There's not that many rares to steal buffs from. Oh, speaking of mirror, I found a mirror yesterday when I woke up and was doing some Crimson Temple runs, so yeah. Target farming the Apothecary card, got a mirror to drop. And it was from the Strongbox, of all things. Operative Strongbox, so this is nice to see. Sometimes you're going to get this Strongbox. It's the most valuable one. Definitely want to open it up. My loot filter is pretty tight. The loot filter will be on the, or inside the description as well. So first map is basically done here. I didn't get any altars, I don't think, so really bad showcase there for the altars. That's okay. You were able to see how many monsters spawned, though. You can see it's quite a few. And we're going to throw this on the dump tab because we're getting started here. I will now open up. So you can see this is a pretty low pack size, right? It's a monster pack size. I don't know, where does it say there? Oh, 20%. Okay, 20% is very low. As you can see, that's pretty low. So let's go into this map and see just how much pack size I have. Now, when I do 8 mod corrupted juicing, increased effect modifiers on non-unique maps, I usually have pack size between 50 and 60%. And here you can see I have a pack size of 56%. So that puts me right on par with sort of the semi to mega juicing strategies in terms of pack size alone. That's pretty extraordinary in my opinion. To be able to run a map that is so safe, you know, it only has 4 modifiers on it. The map is incredibly safe and yet has a huge number of monsters on it. And again, just to drive the point home, the most important part of the strategy is the fact that the Eldritch minions, the real value from them is just in their flat % chance to drop. Again, let's see what this one says. Okay, chance to drop gems. Now, gems is actually the worst choice of them all, but I have seen an Enlighten drop from this altar already once this league. You know, you can get the Empower Enhance, and you could actually adjust your loot filter to see like 20% gems that come out. That would be pretty good too. This essence was not quite worth corrupting. This one definitely is. We got a purple essence, and nothing happened unfortunately, so that's unfortunate, but at least my essences are looking a little bit more promising. Oh! How died there. Yeah, sometimes we'll die. So here we are getting our buffs back up again. Doing that one strong box. It may be the only strong box on the map. Give myself a nice soul eater count for this essence coming up here. And this is a doozy right here. Let's see what it comes out. Oh, I just added one, so it's not very good. See, I got a bajillion different fireballs coming my way, but because I'm doing bossing like damage, it's okay. % chance to drop maps is pretty nice. Really, these after death effects are pretty serious. Really am enjoying this strategy. I think a lot of you guys are too. I know it is going to be pretty tough to pull off if you have an under-geared character still. But for anyone who has a fairly well-geared character who likes making currency really super fast in maps without really thinking about anything, very easy, low prep. These maps are costing me essentially, what was it, like 7 chaos per map investment. I mean, that's just tiny considering the vast majority of that investment is the map itself, the map cost itself. There we go. So map number 2 is done. No special drops really. Honestly, rather unfortunate. A bit under average there for the first couple, but you know, there will be a highlight reel obviously, and I'm sure we'll see some things. And who knows, we might even see the fabled Solaris and Lunaris touched monster. I have been seeing those on a fairly regular basis. By the way, if you want to see them too on a fairly regular basis, play the game. For anyone who's saying those particular monsters are super rare, you know, hardly ever see them, I have to do like hundreds of maps or whatever to see one. First of all, it's not hundreds of maps to see one, generally speaking. And the second of all, most of the time people make comments like that aren't really playing the game. They're certainly not playing it the way I'm playing it. And I'm not playing it anything special here. I'm just doing Alch Go right now. I will say though, League mechanics that introduce more rares onto the map are really good. And from me to you, my next strategies after this, they're going to feature Legion. In fact, I honestly am thinking that I might be doing Legion for the honestly like the rest of the league, because it is incredibly strong for multiple reasons. Its own league-specific rewards are incredible. It has a great synergy with this arch nemesis new jackpot strat, I guess you could say, and that's where I've honestly seen the most of them. And the crazy thing is, you get the reward from them before you get the reward. Like if you spawn a high-value arch nemesis monster in a legion, you actually get its reward before having to kill it. You get its reward. It pops out during the stasis, which is just insane. You know what's also insane is these essences I got here. They're pretty juicy. So we're gonna have to be a little careful. Okay. Now, normally I don't kill an Essence monster with 0 Soul Eater buffs, but if it's just going to have 1 Screaming Essence, I know it's going to be easy enough. My goodness, a lot of Essences. I'm level 95, by the way. I'm not really expecting to level up with this strategy, but, you know, I might. If I play well enough, I guess. That guy hits hard. I'm gonna have to come back. I'm gonna have to come back and get some buffs. See, I'm getting a lot of really juicy altars this map. Now, I'm doing something very specific to the Soul Thirst strategy. I'm pooling up my Soul Eater buffs by doing the strong box, things like that. I'm taking it so seriously, I'm not even looting, I'm not losing any time. I now have 186 Soul Eater stacks, so as long as I don't get myself killed, you can see I'm able to kill this guy a lot faster than I was a second ago. And there's still one more. And that's how you do it. That's how you become all-powerful. And now I still have enough time, I can probably even do this one here. Yeah, well, they were a lot easier, weren't they? And they drop better essences, ironically. By the way, the cool thing is, if you get one of those super Arch Nemesis monsters that drops the crazy loot, the Shrieking Essence here, the mechanic for this, it duplicates the Essence monsters, will in fact ultimately result in duplicating the special rewards from them. Of course, it can make for an extremely powerful Arch Nemesis minion, and it can be unkillable if your build's not strong enough. Again, one more reason to do Soul Thirst, because if I run into that monster and I see it and then I die, I know what I gotta do next. I know I gotta restart my strategy, I gotta go around, clear everything, I gotta get like 300 stacks in the buff, and I come in and obliterate it, regardless of whatever its mods are. So, there you go. Final question I see in the chat here. Have I been doing any Lake of Calandra stuff? No. I'm completely ignoring that mechanic entirely. 100%. Oh yeah, I did drop a Conquer Influence map, so this thing is worth 28 chaos or whatever. That will have to be counted in manually, because Excellence cannot detect those, unfortunately. So, oh, okay, Blink, I see. You're the guy that was in there. Okay. Yeah, sure, it's a good time to help you out. Trinity not proccing, so your weapon damage is too high on cold, I'm guessing. You're using an elemental bow. You're still doing pure elemental, yes, which is probably smart if you don't have like all the pieces ready to go. Switch to physical. Are you doing physical to elemental conversion already? Hatred. Oh, okay. You forgot to equip Anomalous Tornado Shot. That's your big that's a huge mistake. So you're gonna get tons more damage if you do that. Wow, that is a nice job, man. You have Anomalous Tornado Shot? There's not really any other explanation for you not proccing Trinity if you have Anomalous Tornado Shot. That's the only thing, because Anomalous Tornado Shot guarantees it overrides all other forms of conversion in the game. The gem conversions override everything else, and you have to have you have to be getting Trinity to proc, because it's 60% into random element. There's no possible way you're not getting it if you have Anomalous Tornado Shot. Yeah, Anomalous Tornado Shot is not about proccing Trinity. It's about giving you all of the damage conversion, so you get all the benefit from everything else. Goated? You mean goated in the positive sense? I'm guessing. Y'all see how much currency I'm getting? A couple of altars, it's just raining currency. Map currency rewards and basic currency rewards. The only thing I'm not seeing is eldritch currency rewards. Oh, that's that was an arch nemesis monster of some kind. Okay. That was a reward. Oh shit. Oh, Mesa. Look at that Mesa again. I was wondering why that essence or that arch nem monster had detonate dead or whatever it was.
My mana is gone.
2.8% eldritch currency. Yeah, that's 2 chaos, 2 chaos, 2 chaos. There we go. Huge. Shit, I'm gonna die. Oh! Oh! Nice. Okay. What you say? You say loot is gone? Yo, I'm making this video specifically to showcase that loot is not gone. With tiny investment to boot. This will be the only time I make a video like this with like Alch Go level investment. Not what I'm known for. But you know, sometimes I have people who like a little bit of variety in my content. So after this video comes out, we're definitely gonna move forward to some more juicy stuff. I can't even risk checking because wow, I'm stepping over that fire. I think this is really sad. I'm pretty sure I just like lowered the health of the one that's still high. So now they're both at like a quarter health. I do have Culling Strike. Oh my god. This is a freaking slog. And this can be entirely avoided by just not failing in the initial phase of it. So this is the last portal. This is it. It's all or nothing. They're at like 25% health. I don't think I have any like bad altar buffs that are... Oh wow, even if I teleport over there, could I? If I only had to face one of these, I'd probably be fine. But because I've faced two of them at once, mirrored, or essence charged up or whatever.
I'm not up to that.
Regen. Oh my god. Oh, I can't walk that way. I should have thought about putting them in a more open spot originally. Where are they at? Oh man. Oh my god. Ah, look how close they are to cold. I wonder what they would have dropped. We'll never know. We'll never know. I'm sure it would have been a few divine orbs though. ×2. That's the first time I've... That's not actually the first time I've failed to kill an arch nem mob, a big arch nem mob there, but there was... Nah, man. It wouldn't have been that much.
My mana is gone.
This was like super low quantity magic find build going in. And I didn't hit any altars that gave me extra stuff. So it's fine. Rogue markers. Really? That was a good decision. Go down there real quick in the last few seconds.
I'm not up to that just yet.
Good execution. All this altar loot never gets old. Like cha-ching, cha-ching, like everything I pick up is basically worth at least one chaos orb. Especially these eldritch currencies. Look at how much. Look at how much this is. Can I do Legion with this build? Very easily, yes. Build is excellent, Legions. Better, I mean, I challenge you to find a better build that can do Legion on, I don't know, like a 20x budget. Obviously, my current gearing is above 20x, but like the build and the build guide is around 20x. Give or take with the crazy pricing that happened on a few items this league. I would have thought it'd been about 10x. I don't know why I'm talking in Exalt, I mean Divines now. But yeah. Whoa. Yeah, it's super lucky that that's there like that. I think that's new this league too, so Grand Design just got better this league indirectly because of that. Those 4 new ones posted right there, 1 point away. The Academic! Inspired Learning, 1 out of 8. Thank you. Divination card reward from the altar. So that should be worth almost a Divine Orb. My math is correct. That's crazy, that card being worth a full Divine Orb. It is worth 115 chaos. Yep. 9? What? 9? No way. Just said it was 0.7 divines. Can't be right. You must be smoking something. Are you sure you were looking at the right thing? Yo, I'm getting like no blueprints. Or scouting reports. The scouting report RNG is pretty bad too. I think. Oh, did you get that 6 and 9 upside down?
I'm not up to that just yet.
I saw how common they were last league. Oh man, perfect roll in Eldritch currency drops. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Every one of these is 1.5 chaos or more. So hype. Basic currencies too. I'm a little surprised I haven't found a raw divine orb yet because the amount of basic currency altars I've hit is crazy. Oh my god, look at this. Do you think using Doom for the extra curse Meantime is good. No, I wouldn't use... Oh, Whispers of Doom. The problem is with the current setup, you can't not have sovereignty in there, but... Actually, that would work out fine if you... are still running pure elemental. So as a pure elemental build, yeah, I mean, that's okay. Because you can afford the... Because you're running Herald of Ice instead of Wrath, so that's a lot less reservation issue. Oh my god. Another big one. Ah. Oh, sheesh. Wow. Whoa. 155 Soul Eater stacks. Gets the job done. Using were a little bit unforeseen, but the degree of the nerfs. But as far as like my build and stuff, I didn't expect my build to be nerfed in any way. I wasn't expecting them to nerf Soul Thirst. I mean, my god, the belt, this belt has almost no representation in every league. So as long as it has almost no representation in every league, they're not going to nerf it. Why it has no representation in every league, beyond me. Honestly, I think these people are too lazy to actually play the game. Because if they weren't too lazy to actually play the game, everybody would be doing this build. Considering how high performing it is in maps. I mean, at the very least, early in the league, when you have a 2 chaos belt that gives you this much player power, it's absurd how much player power this 2 chaos item gives. Granted, there are some downsides to using it. You have to play a type of flask in a game that some people don't want to play. You can't use life flasks, mana flasks. Yeah, that's the other thing. It's also the life and mana flask thing. So I think it's a combination of people just not wanting to play the game and actually play it for real and put some effort into playing the game. And then it's that, and then it's people don't want to not have the luxury of a mana flask and life flask, which I mentioned in the guide. I talked about that. You say eventually the benefits of group play are gone. Well, the benefits of group play is that you play with players you want to play with you know, you got family members you want to play with, you got friends you want to play with. You can play with them if you want, but in my opinion, this ARPG games, again, one aspect, we were talking about MMOs a second ago. If you want to play a game that is highly oriented towards socialization and grouping and playing with people, and you want to be motivated and you want to be incentivized to do that, doing content that can essentially only be done if you're in a group, like raids, then play an MMO. ARPGs are not MMOs. They are, in essence, a solo game, a solo player's game. And again, if you want to play in a group, that option's there. But there's no reason to make group play way more beneficial than solo play for a game like this. If anything, it should be the other way around. If anything, it should be the other way. I'm not saying it has to be. And again, I said this before, I don't even mind that group play is technically more efficient. But I certainly don't like being a solo player who feels like I'm handicapping myself by not dual boxing an aura bot, or by not, you know, going on my way trying to make a bunch of friends and set up all this stuff, you know, to run a 6-man party and all that. Because I felt that way in Diablo 3, and now Diablo 3's solution to that, the Greater Rift thing, is that they had separate brackets. You had brackets for solo players, you had brackets for group players, and that was nice. So it wasn't just like everyone was trying to get the highest Greater Rift number they could, and, you know, the winner is whichever 4-man party pulled it off. But PoE doesn't have, you know, metrics in that way, and that's fine. They don't need to have metrics in that way. It's not really about the metrics. Anyway, I've done it all. I've done MMOs. I've done Diablo 3 solo play. I've done Diablo 3 group play. The only thing I haven't done is PoE group play, honestly. And I've always preferred. I've enjoyed various different aspects of games, but I've always preferred to play a game that has social aspects to it, but is inherently a solo game. So what we're doing right here, right now, where I'm communicating with you guys on stream, this is exactly what I want, basically. A few people have asked me, you know, hey, you want to group up, you want to do all about. I'm like, no, not really, because there's a lot of headache that goes into that, and then, you know, then I gotta like share stuff with other people, and you know, what if the balance can't be struck or whatever. You know, there's always drama ultimately that happens as a result of that. I've never been in a situation where I've hung out with people in a game where we've actually like collaborated and stuff, and even like actual friends. At some point when you do that, at some point down the road, there's always going to be some sort of like blow up situation happen where like somebody gets super pissed, and then you got to deal with a whole bunch of drama, and you got to figure out how to balancing. And they're just major drawbacks to playing a game with other players, which is why there are games that exist in the world that are by design must be played with other players. You know, I don't know, like chess, for crying out loud. You know, every game is either chess or it's Tetris, basically, and this game is Tetris. This game is not chess. So Tetris is a single-player game, and chess is a multiplayer game. And that's basically how you can break down any game. I mean, you take it to its logical conclusion. Let's say, for example, for hypothetically, to explore this topic. So I think everyone would agree that group play is not, however more efficient it is than solo play. We can all agree that group play is not 100 times better than solo play. It's not that much better. Or 1,000, you know, hell, let's just go crazy. 1,000 times. It's not 1,000 times more efficient. Now imagine a world where it was. You know, would you have a problem with that if you're somebody who prefers solo play? Would you have a problem if group players were earning 1,000 times more currency than solo players? Because I know I would. So taking it to its logical conclusion, you still have to look at it and say, well, I mean, really any amount of disparity is not good. I have a great argument against like the hyperbolic nature of when people say, oh my god, what have you done? You've fundamentally changed the game. You know, juicing is a core tenet to this game. What have you done? You've ruined the game completely. And I'm back over here like, I don't agree. As someone who juices, the game has not been changed at a fundamental level just because Beyond was stripped out of it and we've become less incentivized to juice maps on account of less loot dropping. Or we've lost some motivation to. And I think to myself, again, because I enjoy talking to myself, I asked myself the question, well, okay, because if I was them and they heard me make that comment, they would probably follow up with a question to me and say, okay, well, if you're so smart, what do you think? At what point would you draw the line? Where do you think a company could go? What could they do that would just be completely earth-shattering? Oh, wow. This happened again. Just earth-shattering change to the game that would ruin the game completely and, you know, make you feel some type of way. And my example to that, I say, oh, I have a perfect example for that. Remember when Diablo 3, you know, the Diablo franchise, that is all built around trade economies, and, you know, it set the stage for what an ARPG is supposed to be, with trading and everything like that. Yeah, remember when they made the decision on whatever patch it was and they just completely removed trade from the game? And they normalized all loot? That was a fundamental core change to a game that just completely earth-shattering to the game. That is what that actually looks like. It's not a 10, 20, or even 90% reduction in the amount of efficiency of any one particular farming strategy. That is completely pales in comparison to, like, imagine if GGG was just standing around here one day and was like, you know what, F it, let's just remove trade. Let's just remove trade because, you know, it's too much of a headache. We don't want to mess with it. No, we're gonna remove trade. Then you would, if they did that, you would see me make a video saying, what the F are you doing? This is completely ruining that. This is a core aspect of the game. You can't just remove trade.
Greeting.
But until they do, another example, imagine, you know what another actual core tenet of this game is? Mapping.
Hello.
Or bossing. So let's imagine if one day GGG was like, you know what? This whole mapping and bossing thing, or bossing thing. Let's just take mapping for example. Mapping, man, you know what? Let's go back to our roots. Just campaign and bossing. Just campaign and bossing. Let's do that. Yeah, we're just gonna completely remove mapping, and we're not gonna replace it with anything. It's just gonna, like, you just have your campaign. Maybe we'll upscale the drops of campaign drops a little bit to make up for it, but we're not actually gonna replace it with anything. Okay, then that would be a pretty fundamental change to the game. Likewise, if they just removed all bossing, you know, you get no more bosses. It's just mapping and that's it. You have campaign, mapping, and you got your little map boss at the end and that's it. You have no pinnacle bosses. They're just all gone. That'd be a pretty fundamental change to the game. But hello, pack size, quantity, rarity modifiers are all still a thing in this game. Scarabs, sextants, all still exist. You can do everything you did before. You're anywhere between ever so slightly to majorly impacted by it in terms of your drops. Negatively impacted by the drops. So the solution is to tailor your strategy more so that you're only ever so slightly negatively impacted from the change. Move away from strategies that were nerfed in a major way and move towards strategies that were nerfed in only a minor way, or in some cases buffed, like speed running maps for target farming the loot goblin or whatever. Obviously that type of play was buffed. And you don't have to do it just for the sake of that. And a lot of people are complaining right now because they're like, well, now I'm only incentivized to just run into maps and see, you know, if I can find a rare that has it and everything else doesn't matter. Well, first of all, that's not... People making it sound like that is just absolute horse crap game design. First of all, it's not that bad. The whole, like, loot goblin meta thing in Diablo 3 was not... People look back on that fondly, as a matter of fact. I was there when it happened. It wasn't thought of as this terrible game design. People were just a little bit upset that they couldn't do Inferno mode Act 2 and Act 3 because the characters weren't strong enough and or the game was too hard for them. It was not an issue of loot goblin meta being this terrible thing, and the only reason it was a meta is because the game was hard. The game was actually quite rewarding if you were able to go into Inferno mode Act 2, Act 3 and kill rares and get a bunch of Archon pieces and sell them unidentified or whatever. You actually made massive bank on that, and that's what I did in Vanilla D3. People just weren't aware of that because the game designers of D3 set out to make the game blisteringly difficult at the highest level, and they did a pretty good job actually making it very rewarding at the highest level by introducing armor tiers that could, you know, only the very highest armor tier could drop the highest tier stat rolls. They were called Archon pieces. And the only way you got your hands on that was to do some of the hardest content in the game. I call that's a decent game design. Some people, I mean, you could argue about it, but not bad. So with this whole loot goblin thing now, okay, I'm not sitting here thinking of how to tailor make a strategy around finding a loot goblin in the game. I'm looking at my core strategies now, and I'm thinking, okay, because of this change to the Solaris or Lunaris thing, now I want to, let's see, I'm incentivized to put more rares onto the map. How do I do that? Oh, I run stuff like Harbinger or Legion. That's how I do that. I'm also incentivized to clear the maps more quickly and get in and out of maps faster, which, I mean, we all agree with. Usually going to be more lucrative, getting in and out of maps faster either way.
I'm not up to that just yet.
And so I'm more inclined to, like, I don't know, speed run Legion on Dunes or something like that. So I'm pretty sure that speed running Legion on Dunes was actually buffed this patch, like straight up, because of the changes to Arch Nemesis. So you would be intelligent to take on a strategy like that as in a way to adapt to the changes to juicing. Legion doesn't benefit in any kind of major way from juicing or have any major loss from changes to drops, raw drops, because the majority of the value from Legion comes from the league-specific rewards. So it's in perfectly fine shape. And I've already confirmed that I found multiple Divine Orb drops from Legion monsters because, you know, when much to the surprise of those who would say you have to run hundreds of maps to find one of these monsters. No, you don't. You just have to run, you know, a decent number of maps, put a bunch of rares on the map, you know, juice the map up a little bit, God forbid, and you're going to find those monsters on a regular basis.
Journey well.
Just the other day I was doing Crimson Temple. I found at least 3 of those monsters in 20 maps. Now you could say I was really lucky. That's a low sample size. Fair enough. Still playing the game. Gonna be playing the game a lot this league. We'll figure it out. Figure out what the sample size is. Nice. We have the results in for Alch Go style of play. Let's see if I didn't lose any currency, shall we? All right. So the dump tab A covers everything. So I guess that's kind of alarming that I only covered one dump tab, right? You can see there's a lot of maps in here, frick ton of essences. Looks like Skittles tasting the rainbow up in my dump tab. In my inventory, as I suggested earlier on in the opening of the video, that I would be counting deception contracts at 6 chaos apiece. I would be counting the blueprints at 12 chaos apiece. This is very conservative, by the way. I had to live check the prices of the Elder Influence and Conquer Influence maps. Conquer Influence maps going for about 30 chaos apiece. Elder Influence maps going for about 15 chaos apiece. And so the combination of all of the contracts, blueprints, and the specialized maps resulted in 327 additional chaos. And I actually ran out of chaos in my bank, so I had to pull an Exalted Orb to match that up. And so that is now going to be deposited back in here. And again, the reason we're doing this is because Excellence cannot detect the value of these things at all. Because this was a fast mapping strategy that involved invitation farming, as well as blueprints and contract farming via the heist side of some of the notables, I'm definitely counting those things because they're part of the target farm. So in order to get Excellence to show proper value for what we have, we just zone in and out, and then we take a snapshot. And there it is. Now, of course, I didn't actually find 366 chaos. I suppose I found, I only found about 50 chaos. I found about 1 chaos every other map on average. And there we go. So I did want to double check lesser eldritch currencies here, because actually last night they only showed up as 0.6 chaos apiece, which is a complete lie. It's accurate now, 1.5 chaos apiece, and as you can see, that was the primary thing I found. Of course, if I hadn't dumped all those chaos in there to make up for these maps and contracts, what would be on the very top of this list would be lesser eldritch ichor, and by a long shot too. 4 Screaming Essences are next, so of course you can get 4 Screaming Essences in 100 maps, especially with this notable here, Actions by Acid. Yeah, sorry, I know you guys got to see the chat there, but
I'm not up to that
anyway,
just yet.
back to where we're at. A lot of maps, so I sustained maps at a 1-to-3 ratio. I'm a little surprised. I honestly didn't expect to walk away with any more than like 20 Mesa maps, even with all of them favorited, because this is just an Alch Go strategy. So quite surprised. I still came away with 36 maps. That's kind of interesting and nice. The greater Eldritch currency is there. 1 Divine Orb. Actually, I deposited this Divine Orb in manually because of all the 6 links that dropped, one of them was pretty high value. It was a 6-linked Grove Bow item level 85. It's worth 1 Divine Orb at the time. So that is that drop and the academic card were the only two big drops I got, and I would consider that pretty unlucky with the farm that I did, in all honesty, even with an Alch Go strategy. The fact that those two, because I already tested this strategy, it was like 50 maps earlier, and I got like a Cortex and 2 Divine, or like 2 Exalt and a Divine Orb drop and all that stuff in 50 maps. So I just did 100 maps here. I didn't get any of that stuff. Just an academic card and a high value 6 link. So that's in there, right there. All the essences, just tons of essences. Loads and loads of essences everywhere. I did actually get one map here. I got a Twisted Distant Memory, 25 Chaos there. Apparently the Shaper maps do get counted in here because they're their own identified map, I guess. So I'm just scrolling through here in case you want to screenshot any of this to see how it might compare to yours. You know, at the low end, it's basically just essences. A few little divination cards. A few little currency things. A lot of stuff though, honestly, right? And if we look here on the top left, 4,295 chaos. So I price pointed Divine Orbs at the time at 168 to 1, I believe it was. I hope it was. And that's how I arrived at an investment cost of 4.43 Divines. So what I need to do now... Oh, and usually when I figure out the gross, I also count leveled gems. Well, you can see I'm leveling gems here. But I didn't mention that early in the video. And honestly, if you're doing an Alch Go strategy, you're probably not at the point where you're trying to level enhanced gems and stuff. So I didn't even complete a level of enhanced gems anyway. So I'm not going to count those. So there's really nothing else to look at. We just got to go in and count it out. So it is the number where it is. So 4,000.74 divided by 168, and this is the total number of Divine Orbs. 25.57. And we're going to take that minus the initial cost of 4.43. 1.14. And then we're going to divide this by 5 because it took 5 hours to run this, and that is, in my case, my divines per hour. Now keep in mind, as I mentioned earlier, this is an Alch Go strategy, so, you know, 4x an hour is pretty good, considering no league mechanic is involved. That's also another important thing to mention. So, like, last league, a certain Alch Go strategy was netting up to 10x an hour, purely for the league mechanic. So league mechanic, quite often in Alch Go strategies, play a huge part in the currency gains. We're not doing anything. I didn't touch Lake of Calandra. I didn't even build any mirrors. I know there was a way to like build mirrors in the back end and stuff. I didn't feel like interacting with that, and I think a lot of people still don't know how to build those anyway. So I'm just not messing with it. Maybe some point I will, but for now, not messing with Lake of Calandra anyway. So this is just raw Alch Go, no super lucrative current league mechanic involved, and it still produced 4.23 divines an hour. And you know what? I was doing those maps in 3 minutes flat. It's not that inconceivable to do them that fast, as Mesa is a super fast map. But let's say, you know, you were much slower than I was, and it took you twice as long to do the map, 6 minutes to do the whole map. You'd still be making over 2 divines an hour, assuming you could do some of the essence monsters, because the essence, you know, did make up a sizable portion of it. Actually, let's look here and see how much of that portion essence made. So essence made up about a quarter. Yeah, a little bit. No, about a third, actually. Essence was about a third of the profit that I made in there. About what I expected, to be honest. I was thinking I was going to get about 5 or 6 divines an hour. I think it's the lack of almost any like notable drops, virtually no sizable drops in 100 maps is kind of rough. We do need to talk about that sorry incident in the highlight reel of a Solaris Touch, a essence corrupted quadruple arch nemesis duplicated Solaris Touch monster that I failed to kill in the map. That is, I think I mentioned the highlight, it is not the first time I failed to kill a monstrous monster like that before, but it is the first time I failed to kill one since I've gotten the build finished, I think, and that was unfortunate. So I want to take a second to make a comment on that, right? Because a lot of people are suggesting, you're never even, you're lucky you even saw a monster like that, or whatever. The loot goblin, that was the loot goblin monster for sure. And, I could have just completely stopped what I was doing. I could have AFK'd out and I could have went to TFT. I could have bought a color and we would have gotten, loads of divine orbs that way. On principle, I don't really like that idea. I think the game is better off if you can't do that sort of thing. And especially as a content creator, I don't want to like showcase doing something like that. As well as I'm making a video anyway. Plus, I don't really need the currency because my RNG is already good enough, sitting pretty high right now. Anyway, that monster, that was basically the first time, I don't know, it might have been the first time I've ever experienced feeling that kind of way in Path of Exile. So it was very exhilarating. It was absolutely invigorating to face off against a monster like that I knew was loaded up with currency. And so it was like the anticipation of it, rather than farming something and then the reactive dopamine hit or whatever. You see the apothecary card, you get the dopamine hit, but you can't. You're not really anticipating when it's going to drop. This is different, and this is what Chris Wilson's going for, I think, with moving the loot over to rare monsters, is the fact that I was fighting against something I could actually anticipate was going to be super lucrative. And worst case scenario, I failed to kill it, and I did. So how did I feel about that? I actually felt pretty good about that. You know why? Because just like with that idea or that philosophy of game design, the monster was hard. It wasn't just going to give me the loot for free. I had to earn it, and I didn't earn it because for a multiple variety of reasons. Either, my build's just not quite strong enough. I wasn't quite skilled enough. I wasn't quite lucky enough. And I made a critical error of throwing a corrupted remnant of corruption onto an essence that had 4 arch nemesis modifiers, one of them being Solaris Touched. I didn't have to do that, but I did, and so I enraged it or whatever, maybe, I guess. And you saw that it was also mirrored and duplicated, and both of them were about 20% life, and I have Culling Strike on my build, so it's extremely close to getting those rewards. But the way I'm walking away from that is I feel like, okay, I feel invigorated to meet that monster again sometime. And I think to myself, next time I see that monster, I'm going to get it. I'm not going to fail like that again. And it'll probably be a lot easier because I'll be doing more juiced up maps and I'll have the opportunity to get more Soul Eater stacks on most maps if that happens again. But who knows, I hope that I see that monster again and I can test myself. I'm looking forward to it. I'm not back here thinking, oh, woe is me, the game screwed me over, I had no chance, or anything like. No, I'm all on board with that game philosophy. And I got to see firsthand that game philosophy playing itself out in the way it was intended to be played out. And my reception of it is very positive, even though I didn't even get to see any reward from it. Because I knew it was on me. It was on me to kill that monster, and I did not earn it. So I don't know how many other people can agree with that reception, but that's honest. That's honest to God, my feelings on it. Now I'm a person who plays at a pretty high level, so it's kind of natural that I would have the proclivity to feel that way. But another thing a lot of people are overlooking, I think, is a monster like that monster you saw me face on there. This may come off a bit rude, but a casual player has no business fighting a monster like that. The casual player has no business fighting a T16 duplicated, remnant corrupted, essenced, quadruple arch nemesis, Solaris touched monster to fight off the reward. Who in their right mind thinks a casual player or somebody who's not playing at one of the highest levels of gameplay currently would even deserve the reward from that monster? By all means, face off against it if you dare, but only the best player would deserve something like that, and I didn't get it. So again, that's my honest to God feelings. I really felt like I needed to put that out there, and I'm happy that there exists some kind of mapping content like that that's super on edge. Like I got really excited and exhilarated and invigorated even after the fact that I got to face off against something like that. So that's all I want to say on that matter. I will no doubt see a monster like that again. And, you know, to be in all honesty, I'll probably be way more prepared for it because I'll probably be wearing better gear. May even be wearing a headhunter at the time. So, that is it. That concludes this little video of perception versus reality. Yes, you can get currency per hour doing Alch Go. I just showed it here, predominantly from Essence, but even more so, I think, from the altars. I'm pretty sure that collectively, the majority of my currency was made from altars. I got a whole bunch of divination altars, basic currency altars, map currency altars, map altars, scarab altars, and of course, eldritch currency altars. Yeah. So, if you have any questions, any comments, if you feel a certain way about what you saw here, let me know. This video does come with an added goal of dispelling the myths that loot is in somewhat of a terrible place right now. I don't think it's true at all. I know that some of you are probably going to be leaving this video thinking, well, yeah, but you didn't really juice anything. You're not showing us juice content. Don't worry, that is to come next. I think the next major video I make, the next video of this series, will probably feature divination card farming, which was supposedly nerfed to the ground as well in the process of all of the nerfs. Not true by my estimation, but we're going to find out together, I guess. All right, so that's it. I will see you guys in the next video.